welcome you to the USL Championship on CBS Sports, a playoff rematch to begin the month of May. Detroit City, home to maybe the best atmosphere in all of the championship. Ready to welcome Louisville City's last year's Shield winner to Keyworth Stadium in Hamtramck. We have lineups and kickoff when we return. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Detroit City and Louisville City matching up to begin the month of May. Mike Watts, Ricky Lopez, Espen. Here's a look at the Detroit City lineup.
3 changes for Danny Dico at that loss at Pittsburgh. You're bringing in Montgomery, Juve, and Egbuchulum. So a little bit more in the attacking phase of play for Louisville City. 3 changes as well at their loss midweek in the Open Cup against the Houston Dynamo. You bring in Mogel, you bring in Serrano, and Donovan leading the attack for Louisville City.
And so we're ready to kick off this quarterfinal rematch, maybe the biggest upset in the history of the championship playoffs. That was November. This is May, a critical juncture for both sides in the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference. Matt Thompson, our referee, the opening whistle, and we play right on time tonight. It's Louisville City and Detroit City. It's the USL Championship on CBS Sports Network. Early smoke billowing out Keyworth Stadium. Everyone acknowledges one of the best venues to watch a match in the championship. It's not because it's the shiniest nor the newest. It's because the atmosphere here that the fans create is one of a kind.
Extremely tight. The ball's going to move very quick. The surface is hard. So a lot of the emphasis, especially early on in this game, is going to be technically. How good can you be in your first touch, connecting your first pass, playing yourself into this game for both sides.
Brought down by Job and launched forward. Hamadou Dia circles. Detroit, 3 wins, couple losses, and a draw this year. 4 wins and a loss in all competitions at home. Entering the weekend sitting 3rd in the East. Driven all the way down to Danny Fondes. Remains in after 8 saves in the Open Cup defeat at the hands of Houston, a game in which Louisville led the MLS side in the 89th minute of play. Went to extra time, ended up falling just a hair short. Their second cup set. Dia gets rolled up, free kick to Louisville City.
Really well done here by Donovan, just to use his big frame and just fend off on Mumenta. And that allows Dia to come around the corner. Yamazaki never sees him. Watch the left leg catch Amadou Diop. An opportunity here for Lou City early in this match to test Herrera and this Detroit City back line.
Dia retains the shirt in the starting 11. His second start in league play this year. And Jansen Wilson stands over the ball. 5 goal contributions in the first 7 league games. Against a Detroit defense tied second in the league, having conceded just 4 goals all season. Wilson delivers, short of Adams. Gleedle knocks it back in. Adams knocks it down, stabbed away by Detroit. Maybe a chance to run for Jof. Amu Mensah.
Going to look a little bit different for Detroit City, specifically going forward. Egbert, he's going to play as the target number 9 for Danny Dicchio, so that allows players like Darren Smith and Juve underneath them to make those runs out of midfield. So you have a lot of verticality for the home side. So expect them to play a little bit more direct early on in this match to put pressure on Lou City's back line.
A lot of talking from both coaches in the lead up to this game about when to be pragmatic on a field that has a little extra bounce to it, a little tighter confines than players may be used to in other venues.
We have 2 teams that are aggressive, that want to press, that want to make the opposition really uncomfortable. So specifically when playing out of the back, Mike, you have to be really smart in terms of your decision making. And that is when playing a little bit more direct, trying to win second duels just like this at pushing up the field become really important into the run of play.
Dia further by Serrano, who scored for Louisville on Wednesday night in Houston. Goals in back-to-back games in all competitions for him. Both off the bench, now getting the starting call. That's Adams into the back of Cedeno. Kobe Hernandez-Foster. Adams wise to it, reigning defender of the year in the championship. Serrano. Adamu Mensah. And Herrera overcooked it. You know, when you think about the quarterfinal matchup between these 2 teams, Detroit finished 8th, last into the playoff field, 9 wins all year. Louisville, the points per game record, 73 points in 30 games. And yet it's a 1-0 win for Detroit. Danny Dicchio said at the time, he's a former DJ in a previous life. It was Unfinished Symphony. That was a pretty decent finishing touch he gave. And not a necessary touch to draw a whistle for Matt Thompson in this instance from the young Brandon Days.
Really well done from Days here, just to cut down the angle. Not easy to go like for like with Juve here. Nothing in that whatsoever. But how good has he been in 2026? A young center back, the ability to read the game gets better and better. Comfortability on the ball to break lines, athletic ability, has everything in his locker. Potential extremely high for Days.
But Ricky, in talking with Detroit, there was a lot of confidence established in that win at Louisville. They had never done it before, and they did it in the most important game of the year. As Adams really struggling to bring this in. Now Dia gets it away.
That game was all about belief for Danny Dicchio and Detroit City.
It's an obvious foul. Duncan pulling down Cedeno.
And watch the arms of Zach Duncan. Knows he's getting beat from Cedeno, gets the right body position on the interior. And Cedeno just so clever. He feels any sort of contact through the back, he's going to go down and force the whistle of Matt Thompson.
Just as Louisville got a free kick from Jansen Wilson in an intriguing position moments ago. Kobe Hernandez-Foster now for Detroit. Hernandez-Foster into a dangerous position. There's contact, but not enough to draw a penalty. Callum Montgomery went down. Let's look back at that quarterfinal matchup between these teams. Last year, Lynn Family Stadium, 1st of November. And Detroit grabbing the goal that they needed to upset one of the best teams in league history.
Again, the belief factor was there for Danny Dichio to go into Lynn Family Stadium and play against a team that was almost unplayable in 2025. He believed it. Every single one of his players in that locker room believed it, and that gave them confidence, like you alluded to, Mike, that now, come 2026, any environment in USL Championship, that they're going to fancy themselves to get a result.
Amu Mensah, the hero that day. Foul committed by Silva. Donovan walking out of this. Danny Dichio with a similar attire on this occasion as the one he wore in November. 3rd year as the head coach. He did say, I'm a bit of a grumpy old man. Even though we've scored more goals, and that was a chief focus coming into this season, still feels there's a lot of room to grow, especially coming off a 2-1 loss at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, frustrating result for Detroit City. Gifted the Riverhounds 2 goals. He said, not only me, my father as well.
So I called my father in England an old grumpy Italian man, and he goes, well, look, as a coach, not a lot you can do about those, but acknowledge the frustration. Played square to Sam Gleadle as Louisville tries to switch the point over to Jansen Wilson. Chops it forward into the box. Ekbachulam starts it the other way. Ekbachulam on the ball now from Hernandez-Foster and sent it all the way down to Fondes. A goal early from Albert Dikwa, a goal late from Albert Dikwa. Ekbachulam scored one in stoppage time, but too late. The reigning champion Pittsburgh Riverhounds got the win on the occasion last weekend and started a mini bye for Detroit. Said some of the local guys just had a chance to go home. A lot of games early in the year for Detroit. Wilson tried to sweep it through. Karate kicks this into the width. Duncan. Gleadle. Trying to get something on that. And it's a throw to Detroit.
It's good work there from Silva just to drop off and beat Gleadle to the spot. And as Mogel steps in, feels there is a little bit of contact from Juve there, not much whatsoever. But he loved the aggressiveness from the center back from Mogel here.
The center back, Mogel.
Yeah, center back.
An adjective that was used for him very much in the past.
You and I had the ability to speak with Simon Burden. You specifically asked about him dropping a little bit deeper. And the answer was extremely interesting, saying, look, the whole field is in front of him. So now he has the ability to break lines. He's able to read. Positioning is something that he can continue to grow in, understanding that he is a last line of defense, but comfortability on the ball, not a problem. Vision, not a problem. Technical ability, not a problem. Mogel slots really nicely next to Days and Adams in that back line.
Signed a multi-year deal before the 2024 season. This now is 5th year in the championship. And to say maybe it had gone a little bit stale, trying to figure out the best place for him, gets sent on loan to New Mexico at the end of last year. Then head coach Danny Cruz said the entire way he is coming back to Louisville. This is getting him minutes. And Simon Bird offered, this doesn't mean that Mogel will be a center back forever. It is a very banged up Louisville back line, but it has been a good position for him. Yamazaki somehow did flutter across through, out to Hernandez-Foster. Settles, curls, back post. Not a bad idea. Ekbachulam was waiting. It's knotted out for a corner.
Really patient from Yamazaki. The sole rolls to bring in 2 Louisville defenders. And as this ball pops out, Kobe Hernandez-Foster just trying to find Ekbachulam at that back post, but really well done in terms of the positioning from Mogel. Understanding Gleadle's behind him, needs to get that challenge right, and does it.
Duncan being read the riot act. Juve's like, all right, can I kick it now? Juve delivers. Pops out high. Cedeno wasn't able to get the leading touch he wanted. Louisville out the other way. Chipped in for Donovan. Was trying to get it through to Serrano. That combination was golden against Houston in a very similar scenario. Make that Davila popped out, the number 8.
Really good ball in from Donovan, just into the path of Davila. Initially, there is a little bit of hesitation from Yamazaki. Is he going to go? Is he going to stay? And ultimately does just enough to cut down this ball from Davila, because if he's not there, most likely it's 1-0 in favor of Louisville City.
Mensah taps that in against the pressure of Donovan, wins the free kick. Both sides with captains who became experienced wearing the captain's armband last year due to injuries to some of the longer serving players for their respective clubs. All the while, Louisville losing their most tenured manager in the league in Danny Cruz, becomes an assistant at Minnesota. A handful of games into the year. So Simon Bird has been around since the beginning of the Cruz era. Former U of L star, jumps into the interim head coaching position for the time being. All he's done is cups at Austin, get a win in the Prinks Tires USL Cup against Fort Wayne, and keep the team at the top of the regular season standings. Not so bad.
Yeah, he's done a really good job, Simon Bird, and the ability to give players more freedom in the attacking phase of play. A lot of the times in years past, we saw Louisville City do a lot of the work on the wide parts of the field, serving balls into dangerous areas. But now he's saying, look, we can go centrally with the amount of quality that we have to play in between pockets to give us a little bit more of that unpredictability factor. And he's giving them that freedom, that confidence to pick and choose the way that they can attack games.
Has felt there's been more comfort on the ball in possession that has shown, to your point. Duncan and Serrano had swarmed. Players still down, with Yamazaki struggling to get up.
And Zach Duncan needs to be careful. The second foul early in this match. Good feet from Yamazaki. The left peg just catches him. And Zach Duncan, have a conversation with Matt Thompson, needs to be really clever in terms of his positioning and work rate for the remainder of this game, not to pick up a silly first yellow card here.
That ball's been working on the railroad. Favorite part of the Open Cup in Hamtramck. Whoa, all right. Not quick. All heroes wear capes, some wear hoodies.
Man, that was quick.
Wow.
Yeah, impressive.
I thought that was headed straight to Ontario. Wow. But naturally, the Open Cup on CBS Sports Network and Paramount Plus and Golazo Network, the one image of the I think it was round of 32 was the train passing by that naturally gets press attention every time it occurs. We can only be so lucky today. We'll give it go atop the penalty area. Speared wide by the reigning player of the year, Taylor Davila. Wilson tried to return to Gleedle. High step, well done. Wilson brings it in. Maybe room to have a go at this from range. Whistles wide. And into the containers. Turned into sweets behind the goal.
Love the tempo here from Louisville City. Quick, simple, and that first touch there from Taylor Davila sets him up just to step into it. And we've seen him hit bombs from this distance in his career. Just pulls it a little bit wide, but that's the first time that we've seen Lou City's starting to get a little bit of rhythm through the run of play and really test Detroit City.
Goal kick for Detroit. Hey, tomorrow, 3 Eastern, get ready for an NWSL showdown on the pitch as the league newcomers square off. Don't miss Boston Legacy hosting Denver Summit right here on CBS Sports Network. You're not calling, you are calling that game. Are you calling it in the States or are you calling that overseas?
In the States.
In the States. You're on that game.
I am on that game.
All right. Wasn't sure if this was a crossover episode or not. Boston still trying to find their way a bit. Denver has put up big attendance numbers and had some bright moments.
You tuning in?
I'll be there.
All right.
I will be watching. I will be watching you.
Appreciate the support.
That's good for Mogel. Clips this long. Major feature to his game. That checks up outside the penalty area. Keeper's out. Brought down by Wilson and nodded away by Amu Mensah. That's the risk with this turf. It hung up on Herrera. He had to nod that away, do all he could, and Wilson nearly the beneficiary.
Well, give credit to Mogel. First, a recognition that Detroit City is out of shape, so you need to play direct. Second, the touch and the weight on this ball caused a little bit of chaos for Herrera. And then Amu Mensah understanding Herrera's caught off of his line. I need to drop in. Really well done by the center back.
Leads to a corner for Louisville City. They've gone short through Serrano. Works it back to Davila. Header from Mogel. Comes out for a hit. Wilson, no, and then stabbed out of play.
Especially with the tight confines. The ability to whip the ball into a dangerous area. Mogel does a good job at just peeling off Darren Smith. That should be redirected on target. And as this ball comes back across, unable to set his feet, but there is going to be a little bit of chaos every single time you whip the ball into a dangerous area.
So it belongs to Herrera and Detroit for the time being. He's been the guy to start the year, split games with Carlos Saldana last year. Trialed at Monterey Bay, turned into a 25-day deal, turned into a 34-game, 3-year stint. 28-year-old native Californian. Duncan. You know, that is football culture right there. This isn't the wave. This is orchestrated.
One of, if not the best environments in all of American soccer, 50 degrees.
Oh, they don't care.
They do not care.
I mean, they sure look like they're staying warm and properly imbibed. Up for Montgomery. Gleedle won a throw for Louisville. How big of a difference does it really make? You've played in 20,000 seats. You've played college games in 500 seats. You've run the gambit over your professional and collegiate career. How big of a difference is it when they're right at midfield and they're right on top of you?
Massively, right? It's the energy. It gives you that extra bit of buzz, a little bit of extra jump in your step, wanting to do it a little bit more. And on the other side of that, Mike, as a visitor, these are the games that you want to play into because there is nothing better than an individual having the ability to silence the thousands here in attendance. So for Detroit City, yes, you use it as really the 12th man to push you over the finish line, but as a player for Louisville City, these are the types of games that you want to come out and show out in and be the players that play spoiler.
I was asking Simon Bird, native Englishman, so who was your team growing up? And he goes, well, locally it would be Lincoln City. I go, does this have that sort of vibe to it? He goes, yeah, it's about right. The new stadium that they're planning here in Detroit In speaking with upper management for the club, they said, we looked at great League One stadiums in England and tried to recreate that motif, that mystique. They're going to build something special here, worthy of what these fans have built. Back in the day, they raised nearly $750,000 a decade ago to renovate this stadium to get it up to a pro level. Whistle goes on the slide into Jope.
See the argument for Detroit City. Matt Thompson needs to play advantage here. As this ball pops out, just notice who recovers it. Detroit City, and they're off to the races here. It's a foul on Dava, the right arm. And as Juve picks up this ball, there's a clear advantage here for the home side. A little bit of frustration shown, and rightly so, for Detroit City.
Thompson, one of the more experienced officials in the championship, not his first rodeo. Amu Mensah. There's Adams. Louisville tonight without the services of the likes of Aidan McFadden, Jake Morris, Sean Tosh, the most experienced player in league history. Over 300 appearances. Among others, but that gives an idea of where their back line's at. Probably their two starting wing backs and a starting center back unavailable for selection. Josh Jones is only available off the bench. Was all league last year despite only starting half the year. Good win by Yamazaki. Past the midway point, a lot of news around the league this week, including a tentative agreement for a new collective bargaining agreement between the players and USL. We'll break down all that news at halftime. Certainly a load off the players' minds. A lot of excitement from the players and USL to get a job done. Ball across, swiped at and sent wide by Danny Fondes. Not a corner, merely a throw.
Decisive goalkeeping. If you do step off of your line, you need to make a play on the ball. Notice where he pushes it away from traffic, not allowing a second bite at the apple for Detroit City. That is a good idea from Silva, with even better goalkeeping.
Service across, header beaming wide from Juve.
One of the hardest things if you are a defender is this type of service, because you have to get your body position extremely right. You have to be able to see the ball, but you also have to be able to see the runners coming from the blind side. Sam Guido has zero idea Juve is coming. Actually beats him to the mark. The free header from about 8-9 yards out should be putting it on target, but need to be a little bit more aggressive there if you are Sam Guido.
6 goals a season ago for Juve. 7 the year prior at Lexington. Fondes will scoop it up in for Hugo Farou, who's out again for this game. How much time when you do these Detroit City games do you spend just reading reading the banners? Look what I found in the dumpster. Louisville. Well done. Ball pushed ahead. Detroit with speed into the final third. Angled across and out of reach. Still on here for Darren Smith, who's got 5 goals in 6 games. Cedeno couldn't sneak that back. Smith hasn't gotten much talk yet to this point. Yamazaki curls in behind. Days.
It's a right idea from Juve to hit it first time and try to come around the back of Louisville City. Just a little bit too heavy, but those are the types of movements that Darren Smith continues to show, which makes him a nightmare to defend. He's quick to recognize it, and then he has the explosiveness and the pace to get in beyond his individual marker.
Knocked across, Louisville wise. Silva. Fondes game for it. Kind of punch you wouldn't want to see in a brawl. And an injured player here to take that punch square to the back of the head.
It's necessary for a goalkeeper. Again, you choose to come off of your line, decisive. Teammate, opposition, clear the traffic. He gets the ball.
But Montgomery got
it's the aftermath that catches Montgomery. And again, really confident and solid goalkeeping.
Whipped across again. Joof, not to be. Toward that back post, got cleared by Adams. And skitters wide in the aftermath. Out for a corner, last hit by Silva.
Just pure chaos every single time this ball gets whipped into the attacking 18-yard box. Darren Smith, Dave's doing a good job at challenging off one another. But if you are Simon Bird, you need to be really pleased with the amount of numbers that you get behind the ball. About 9 of your outfield players defending and helping out the goalkeeper.
Whipped into the box again. This header goes up above the crossbar. They are circling for a goal. Egbuchulum, who scored twice in 5 substitute appearances, trying to make the most of his first start.
Phenomenal ball from Yamazaki. Even better movement from Egbuchulum off the shoulder of Days. That's on target, it's a goal. Found this is out of position. And starting to really knock at the door here at Detroit City, specifically with playing direct and just trying to out-battle their individual marker.
Nigerian international who comes from the Saudi Arabian First Division. His most extensive time came in the Chinese First Division. 4 years there, scored 36 goals. But Chulam has hit the ground running for Detroit. Heel flick on toward Donovan. The very late move that saw Philip Goodrum go to Lexington. That went right into the smoke bucket. They dug it out. But Donovan comes in after surgery in the offseason and 20 appearances in Philadelphia last year. Tola Shawunmi returns after a year away from Louisville at Crawley Town in England. And they're trying to pick up the scraps at the 9 position. Shawunmi has been brilliant in the Open Cup. Herrera. This is the pressure that Louisville can provide, and Detroit trying to play over it. Let's see it at halfway to Adams. Davila. Knocks it down a second time. It's another high step from Mogel. This time he's guilty. And Detroit playing quickly. Cedeno wants it. Smith, the target, brings it down inside the penalty area. Slid away from the line. And the follow-up is blasted out of play. Amadou Dia to the rescue. That is a goal line clearance either way from 2 of the most veteran defenders.
Continue to talk about the movement from Darren Smith, but notice at the last second, catches Kyle Adams flat-footed. You need to attack this ball as a center back. Almost the same thing that we saw with Gleedle moments ago. Darren Smith doing a good job at just cutting down the angle, and Amadou Dia understanding, found this as beat, let me drop in, and almost plays a second goalkeeper to keep this thing 0-0.
You do sort of feel like a goal's coming. These have been really tightly contested games, especially the last 4, right?
Yeah, 3 of the last 4 decided by 1 goal. So it tells you that this game is going to be extremely tight. It's going to be close margins, but it's some movement that we've seen from two of the Detroit City players. First from Juve, just slashing across Gleedle. This time Darren Smith coming across Kyle Adams. You need to be on your toes a little bit more if you are through the back line of Louisville City.
There is blood on a player's jersey. That's the note from Matthew Thompson here. And Donovan is going to need to get a new shirt, I think. So Donovan attended to. Louisville off to another, to be fair, typical good start this year. This ball will wind up over the line for a goal kick. Players come and go, although the consistency of Louisville is good as any team in the championship year after year after year. But here they are yet again at the top of the league through 7 games. They won the Shield each of the last 2 years, last year by a record margin. Ball whipped into the box, seeking Darren Smith. There's Fondes.
Scoring goals is not a problem for Louisville City, especially with how good they are at whipping balls into dangerous areas, the type of profiles that they've been able to bring for over the course of the offseason. But it's finding that consistency defensively through the first 7 games. You've conceded 9. That's something that we have not seen in a really long time for Simon Bird. But yes, you want to give players the freedom to go and be a little bit more free-flowing going forward. But in doing that, the foundation is going to be compactness defensively. You need to find that balance.
I think you can look at the injuries they've sustained in that back line and go, well, you know, do you grade on a curve?
Agreed.
All whipped through. There's Fondes to tap it down, to hang on. Much consternation. Is it a corner? It's deemed it is. Did get over the line on the deflection. Donovan's been waved back on. Louisville's playing that moment without a player on the field. And Donovan's actually changed numbers. They've gone to the blood kit. Number 33, Chris Donovan. Yeah, that's weird. Quarter whip through. Not a bad header, given the circumstances. How many times did you have to change numbers in your career? And I don't mean going to a new team, having to switch kits.
Never.
Never? Not once? That's why your face is so pretty.
Oh, stop.
No blood, no nothing. No touching of the hair or face.
No touching of the hair or face through my playing time. Hey, got me a job next to you, right?
Yeah, well, I think the proof is in the pudding, or how much pudding I eat, that it's not about how you look to get this gig.
Oh, stop.
Appeal that hit the arm of Smith, goes unheard, and then he's able to thief the ball off Davila. Electric player once he's on the ball. He's not necessarily the fastest player. Sort of an old school English style forward by Danny Dicchio's description, which he loves. Probably reminds him a bit of himself. Whistle blows. That's a foul from good old number 33.
Through 36 minutes here, it's been difficult for either one of these sides to get any sort of rhythm. It's been back and forth. It's been exciting. It's been direct. But for Simon Bird and Danny Dicchio, you're looking at players that want to maybe slow the game down, specifically for Louisville City. Davila and Duncan, put your foot on the ball, because there is a difference of being pragmatic and playing a little bit more direct. You have to pick and choose your times when you're doing that. Detroit City sitting a little bit deeper. That's when you circulate the ball. When they're sitting high, that is when you can play indirect. So finding that balance.
Donovan's livid, thought he had been fouled, and he's trying to take that out on Herrera. Whistle blows. It nearly comes to blows. Duncan, overzealous perhaps.
As his ball pops out. A little bit of a drop of the shoulder from Davila. And he just catches Juve coming through.
Only the captain, a rule instituted last year, Donovan was the player who initially felt wronged. Then the play continued, led to that foul. By the way, not only did he change his shirt, my brother, he changed his pants. Number 33.
That is impressive.
I've never seen that before.
That I've never seen.
No.
I've seen the kit, not the shorts.
I didn't know they have blood shorts. So only the captain rule. If the referee feels he's being swarmed by an inordinate number of players, can lift his arms up above his head and say, I'm only having the discussion with the team's 2 captains. That's exactly what occurred here that sees Adams Namu-Mensah summoned. Adams trying to get the final word in here, though the decision is a free kick to Detroit. It's moments like that with Chris Donovan that I'm very grateful we only have a certain number of cameras. Here's Namu-Mensah. Appeal for a handball from Louisville goes unheard. Cedeno charging forward off the edge. Ball whipped across, frame off the post. Follow-up is in. Yamazaki with the hit. It's touched over the line. Detroit City has the lead.
Talked about wanting to get in their rhythm and having the ability to play through the lines. That is a wonderful ball from Cedeno. You take out that whole midfield and back line of Louisville City, and this is when Detroit City is at their best, when they're aggressive, when they're committing numbers forward and just causing chaos. As this ball pops out, Yamazaki does just enough to arrive to that spot, put it in a dangerous area. You get rewarded, and Detroit City, right before the 40th minute mark, find the go-ahead goal here at Keyworth Stadium in front of thousands of their home faithfuls.
Crowd doesn't care who gets credited with the goal, the own goal, it's irrelevant. The scoreboard has changed. Detroit leads Louisville, and it may be that same story again. Just as Louisville season ended a year ago at the hands of Detroit at home, Detroit grabbed the opener here this afternoon. Ball across, Duncan hits it right at Herrera. Nearly immediate retribution. Here's Adams. Dia. Off Cedeno. Namu-Mensah whiffs at it. Donovan calling for a handball again. This is something most people don't think about, but because it's only 50 degrees, Namu-Mensah among the players that are wearing the long sleeves, what referees usually look at is ball to skin. So as if to say outside the sleeve. Well, now the sleeve is the whole arm, so handballs are a little more confusing. That's a foul from Joe. Into the back of Donovan, who's felt wronged all game. Let's go back to the goal scored about 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, a ball that breaks all the line to the back line for Louisville City, all out of sorts, as Mogel just tries to come back into just an uh-oh moment. Trying to put his foot through it, not really confident, comes off as it skips off the turf. As it is an own goal credited to Mogel. But give credit first to Cedeno, Juve to be aggressive, and then Yamazaki staying with the play, getting himself in around that 18-yard box, and gets rewarded. An opportunity here for Blue City as Davila stands over it. Not the initial ball from this distance, the secondary phase of play that can cause some issues.
Yamazaki, part of the then Jägermeister Cup, now would be the Prinks Tires Cup, winning Northern Colorado team in League One. Former Oral Roberts player, thought he had his first goal for Detroit. Ball bouncing away from Duncan Adams. Duncan flips that up. It goes off the face of Amu Mensah. Donovan gets knocked down again. Egbuchulum, he's going to get a yellow card. Donovan's saying, finally. And here's the thing, you can give a foul for the foul itself and a card for that, fine. You can also say Donovan has taken 3 or 4 hits, and it might be persistent infringement on the individual.
As this ball pops around, Kyle Adams doing a good job, Zach Duncan as well, just throwing their body around. Nothing in here whatsoever, right off the chest and chin area of Devin Amu Mensah. And as Yamazaki clears the lines, good no call from Matthew Thompson. Clearly off the chin. That's a foul from Egbuchulum. Drops his shoulder, knows exactly what he's doing. None of the ball, all of Donovan, and goes into the book.
Do you think if Donovan hadn't hit the ground as many times already in this game, still a yellow?
Still a yellow.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's the first yellow for Egbuchulum in 6 games this year. He's going to be a problem. You can tell that already. Wilson into the box, stays. Not that wide. Egbuchulum, you know, you look at the whole of Detroit's attack. All respect to Trevor James, who for so many years made this an extraordinarily difficult place to play. Detroit's culture, defensively extremely gritty, tough to break down. But in terms of their attack, once they get guys healthy, Ben Morris is available, Maxi Rodriguez is available. For Morris, first time since an ACL tear last year. Rodriguez for the first time in 4 games. This is a pretty tantalizing attack by any championship standard.
Really good sense of fluidity for Danny Dico once.
All through here to Darren Smith. Trying to wiggle around, and Fondes will pick it up. Egbuchulum was waiting up high, but it never got to him.
You just look at the type of profiles that they're able to be at full force when they are healthy. Darren Smith is more of a slasher within his movement around that 18-yard box. We talked about the physicality. Good step here from Zach Duncan.
And it leads to Gleadle. Back from Davila.
And this is what Louisville City needs. Slow the game down. Settle into it. Get on the ball a little bit more.
Serrano. Oh, excellent leading touch. Gleadle. He went down. That is a free kick. It's tight quarters, perhaps, but it is straight on. A good position for a free kick as we enter stoppage time. Let's be honest, this is exactly the game we thought we were going to get.
That is a wonderful first touch from Sam Gleadle. Not to break stride. Bypass Montgomery. And that is clever as well.
I mean, sure.
There was a little bit of contact on the arm, but Sam Gleadle clearly makes the most of it. He goes down. He forces the issue from Matt Thompson. And what a wonderful chance this is as Jansen Wilson and Taylor Davila stand over it.
Because truthfully, I'd probably give a yellow card to the turf for that. Serrano trying to keep the Detroit players away from the impending free kick. Here's another look.
I think he's going to pull the trigger there, but then again, it's soft.
Well, either way, you're in good shape. Whether it's Jansen Wilson or Taylor Davila, they've got a real shot. Wilson!
Jansen Wilson with a heat-seeking missile. He heard it all. Louisville City on level terms right before halftime. They get a gift of a free kick and make the most of it.
Just so clever from Jansen Wilson. Everyone thinks this ball's gonna go around the wall. Strikes directly through the ball and just wrong foots Herrera. The goalkeeper gets caught cheating. But as we have the luxury of replay, Mike, the Detroit City wall actually splits and the ball goes right through it. That is not what you need if you are Danny Dichio. That is defending 101. You jump together, you stay connected.
Halftime in Detroit. Well, the crowd making their opinion well heard. Jansen Wilson was hoping to quiet the crowd. If anything, it only whipped them up even more. An own goal from Mogel in the 38th and a Wilson thunderbolt in the 45-plus second.
Wasn't a lot of soccer, but we did not expect it to be, especially with these two teams that caught the close confines. We knew it was going to be direct. We knew it was going to be physical. The next 45 minutes, especially for Louisville City, is all about playing, putting the ball a little bit more on the deck, keeping possession. And for Detroit City, if you can continue the intensity and the emotion, you're going to set yourself up for success.
Simon Bird and Paolo Del Piccolo pulling Kyle Adams away from the officials. And it's off to the dressing room at Keyworth. Yamazaki, the strike, touched home by Mogel, an own goal. Then, 8 minutes later, Wilson. We see you. It's 1-1 at halftime on CBS Sports Network.
We're glad it got done. Into the graphic, I'm going to just hit the high points. Ricky's going to make a comment about maybe what stands out most to him. You can come back on camera if you want in that, and then we'll throw it a break. Cool.
USL on CBS Sports is presented by Best Western. Back in Hamtramck outside of Detroit. It's 1-1 at halftime. Come on into the booth, everybody. Mike Watts and Ricky Lopez-Espin, who played throughout the USL pyramid. The big news this week, of course, isn't just on the field. It's what's finally occurred off the field. It took many months, but there will be 5 years of labor peace in the USL Championship and USL Premier Division once it comes into play, with a new collective bargaining agreement tentatively agreed to by the Players Association in the league. It is a landmark moment, one that was long overdue.
This was all about the players and the league getting what they deserve and what they wanted to deserve. For the players, it gives you stability. For the league, it gives you growth. And ultimately, for fans and neutrals and people like us, Mike, it gives us the ability to move on and continue to grow the beautiful game in USL in the pyramid. So hats off to everyone involved. And that's just a very good sign that things are to come and to grow.
Let's show you the key points from the tentatively agreed to agreement. It's 5 years with the potential to be extended to a 6th. It's 12-month contracts as opposed to what we saw in the past, which was 10-month deals on 1-year contracts, so to speak. Health insurance now required through the length of those deals. Compensation goes up by about 40%, and it also sets the minimum standards for USL Premier as it relates to salary, as well as expanded group licensing and prize money handed out by the league for the first time. Ricky, you would have been involved in either negotiating or what they did negotiate in a prior life as a player. What stands out to you from that?
Number one, it's the stability of 12-month contracts, right? For players, you have to understand you need that income coming in on a consistent basis, right? And that's going to settle the mind. And that's also going to give you the ability to just focus on the football. And in doing that, the league grows, the quality gets higher, and becomes more of a destination league for the USL Championship. So everything combined, I think it's a win-win for both the players and the league. And again, super excited.
Yep, and I think we're all grateful for the amount of work that went in, and now we can move forward with the league this year and the players giving us moments like this. Nervy moments early going, goal-scoring moments in the last 10 minutes. Detroit 1, Louisville 1. The highlights are coming up.
We'll see if in the second half that they can step up the game. Let's see what W's got. Nitro's on the kickoff again. Right back to Friendly, who's maybe been the best player so far. Again, the high press is really working for the kids. Into the middle. And we've learned we can use our hands as the goalie. No jersey or gloves to designate who it is, but we've got one back there. Leprechaun. Shout out Leprechaun.
mascot block party. That is the Norse god of dog-so. Can't have it. Suddenly, everyone in front of the goal mouth chopping out, and they score! Everyone hit the Sally. Welcome back, everybody. Celebrating with Ricky Lopez, Espen, Mike Watts on hand. You gotta love it in Detroit. That game felt like it was played inside a pinball machine. I'm not talking about the mascots.
That game looked like that.
It
was intense. It was direct. It was everything that we thought it was going to be, because every single time Detroit City and Louisville City play against each other, it's intense, it's direct, and it's competitive. 3 of the last 4 games decided by 1 goal. And that's exactly what we had in that first half. There was 2 goals, but yes, a lot of it's action.
How about we show you the first half highlights? It is all action, all gas, no breaks. Louisville and Detroit. It's a rematch of the quarterfinal that Detroit took last year. How about Detroit getting into the final third?
Yeah, we're doing a really good job with Darren Smith just coming across Kyle Adams at the last second. And I'm going to tell you, the recognition from the weak-sided center back is phenomenal here. The out of shape of Louisville City, you need someone dropping deep and almost playing as a second goalkeeper, and you just see the frustration on Darren Smith's face.
Darren Smith, 5 goals in 6 games, denied by Dia. But just minutes later, this ball from Cedeno, chef's kiss.
Just unbelievable, the ability to pop that ball into that window, and Juve doing a good job at continuing with his first touch, and chaos starts to ensue. But you have to give credit to Yamazaki. He's a right back to understand, if I get myself high up the field in a dangerous situation, I will get rewarded. It's an out moment from Mogel, but the work rate to get there from the right back Yamazaki causes the goal.
Yep, Mogel smart enough to get to the post, but the bounce undoes him. Then the free kick was given softly, but the goal wasn't.
Phenomenal take from Jansen Wilson, but the players in front of the wall at the last second split, which gives a little bit of confusion for Detroit City's wall, which leaves no chance for Herrera. Well taken from Jansen Wilson.
And those are your first half stats. 19 shots in that opening half.
You see all the fouls as well. But for Louisville City, you need the possession to be a little bit higher, especially in the tight confines. Davila and Duncan need to be your best players at settling into this game, playing in between lines, and doing that. Donovan becomes a little bit more influential. He was really quiet in that first 45 minutes.
We've only just begun here. We welcome all those that chose to watch the Derby and join us now from Louisville, and all the fans in Detroit that couldn't get a ticket. It's 1-1 at halftime. 45 minutes to go when we come back on CBS Sports Network. Let's take a look at the travel map brought to you by Best Western. Abdullah Jope, a little bit everywhere.
Yeah, the ability to be box-to-box as a number 8, doing a really good job defensively. Notice right side of your screen, the ability to win second duels and just clog passing lanes, not allowing Blue City to get any sort of rhythm. And then his ability to get forward, especially in the wide parts of the field. If he can get a little bit more into the attacking third, that's going to be a good sign for Detroit City, creating overloads in that higher position.
Senegalese midfielder. They say he can be all league. Came to Florida at the age of 13. Has been with this club now since 2022. Opening touch of the second half belongs to Detroit. They led this match for just shy of 10 minutes. An own goal from Mogel, an equalizer from Jansen Wilson from about 21 yards. Ball ladled across. Zach Duncan arrives. Out to Yamazaki, whose strike got turned in by Louisville. The opening goal in the 38th minute. Juf. Silva. Leaping header didn't go. Brought down by Dia. Comes out for a strike. Yamazaki, no. You could not pay me enough to be a referee at Keyworth Stadium. You couldn't. There's no collective bargaining agreement that would get me to wear that shirt in this venue.
12-month contract?
No chance.
No?
No. I hope that insurance includes therapy. This will warp your sense of time and space. Jansen Wilson. Injured player back inside the penalty area for Detroit. Didn't see what happened initially, but Yamazaki is down. Herrera's gone to check on him. There is no VAR in the championship, so what the referee and the AR saw is what stands.
Yeah, top side of your screen. Donovan trying to make a run across. Yamazaki just drops the shoulder.
Oh.
Yeah. Clear retaliation from Donovan. Drops his shoulder, extends away at the elbow. I think if there is VAR, he's sent off, Mike. This is not a play in the ball. It is extremely aggressive and clear intent.
Donovan was really upset with a number of plays in the first half. That's Yamazaki with that initial shrug into him. And then the follow-up from Donovan is what has Yamazaki down.
Initially, this is a routine defender. You try to bump the attacking player out of their run, but this right here, notice how he leads with his shoulder, almost like a tackle in American football, and then he extends away. The question now for Matt Thompson and his crew, did they see it? Is there communication?
And Thompson pulled out a yellow card as we looked at that last replay, so he does see it. And truthfully, I think he has to take the AR's word for it, because likely the ball goes in the other direction. That's not where the referee is looking. So all of a sudden, you're asking the AR to make that really consequential decision. There's the yellow card out. Good to see Yamazaki up. There's the yellow to Donovan, who had blood on his number 9 kit in the first half. Required a change of apparel midway through the first 45.
But as a former attacking player, every single time you try to make a run across the face of the defender, they're always going to bump you, always just trying to throw you off and frustrate you a little bit. But you need to be a little bit more composed in terms of the emotion from Donovan. Yes, he's frustrated. Yes, he's felt that he's been thrown all over the place, but you cannot do that If there's VAR in USL Championship, he's sent off. Really lucky that he only sees yellow here.
And Duncan now commits the foul. And I don't think anyone's going to get away with much the rest of the way. I think Matt Thompson's going to have to take this into his hands, or the players will take it into theirs. A fan trying to throw the ball back just hit Adams inadvertently. Adams shrugs it off. Here it comes. Well, I thought it was inadvertently, but a couple fans in the front row thought that was planned. Now pushing Namu Mensah as that ball escapes the line. You and I were talking to Simon Bird, the interim coach for Louisville, and he said the biggest thing when you go to Detroit as a player is that you have a quarter second less every time you receive the ball before you're going to get smashed. So the confines of the field almost beg for physicality because there's just no room to go. And you double that now that there's a little bit of smoke and fire.
So spacing, top priority, and body position every single time you receive the ball, specifically centrally. Watch out.
Adams gets taken out. That comes with a yellow card. Job claiming there was less in that than the referee saw.
And as a player now, you have to be aware of the situation. Understanding that since coming out of the locker room, there's been numerous of occasions, and Matt Thompson's going to blow this game extremely tight. No need to engage in any contact, especially off of the ball or late. You're going to get yourself into the book. Just a bit silly there from Job.
Well, you can add that to his travel map. 52nd minute, and some hot tempers in cool temperatures in Hamtramck. Free kick, top of the area. Launched as far as Galidal. All the way back to Fondes. Louisville is 18 consecutive matches unbeaten, coming off a loss in all competitions. You'd have to go back to 2023 for the last time they've lost back-to-back games. They lost on Wednesday in extra time against Houston in the Open Cup, 14-0-4, facing the potential of back-to-back defeats. Ball forward. Duncan spins. Able to get the cross through. Siphoned off by Detroit. Dribbled out of harm's way. Hernandez Foster out into space. Knotted back by Adams. Then Fondes dips away from Smith, who says, I didn't do it. The referee apparently concurs.
My initial thought here, Fondes does try to invite the contact and actually dives in to Darren Smith. We have the luxury here of replay. Not much in that whatsoever.
There's a reason Detroit is so awe-inspiring at home historically. Jansen Wilson chasing back Montgomery. Tries to fill the enormous shoes of Stephen Carroll, who retired over the offseason. At the time, the longest-serving active captain in Detroit sports. A stat that, unfortunately, we won't get to use very much anymore. What a servant to the club he was through numerous leagues and such big games. Ball lobbed across for Donovan. Egbuchulum. There's Adams coming off the back line. Ball brought down by Juve. Racing forward, Mogel stride for stride. Juve, such a danger, 1v1, turns on the Jets, rounds the corner. Juve across, and now last at frame, turned away, the follow-up sent out of play. It is a goal kick in the end. 2 bites at the apple for Cedeno.
So clever from Juve. Notice how he just baits in Mogel. And as he turns the corner here, this is the timing and the decision-making. The back line of Louisville City, they're retreating, so the cutback is on. As this ball pops out, Cedeno needs to have a little bit more composure to pick out a corner, hit it directly at Valdez. It's an easy save initially for the goalkeeper. And as this ball pops out, Ray Serrano doing just enough to, again, throw off Cedeno. But it's the right decision from Juve. Getting himself beyond Mogel, you bring in Days, and that creates a numerical overload at the back post on the cutback. Well done by the winger.
Juve scored 15 goals in League One 3 years ago. The year prior to that at San Antonio, didn't play a ton, but was part of the team that beat Louisville City in the final and won the double. Detroit fans in mass, as always. Here at Keyworth Stadium. Northern Guard supporters, the most vocal of any in the league. And they start him young here too. So Cedeno continues to be attended to. And we're going to watch this man dominate this slice for 30 seconds. Good to see Jacil Cedeno back up. Epic dribbler, so much so he's got his own TikTok to that effect. Tremendous seasons in Oakland. Started his pro career briefly at Red Bull and then on to Hartford for about 2.5 seasons. Use him as a false 9, use him wide, use him as a 10, use him as a number 8, you name it, he'll do it. Danny Dicchio said, I saw him when I was still working on the staff in Sacramento. Going against Oakland, thought I'd love to have him on my team. He is able to remain in the game, it appears. Ball from Jope across, ricochets off Dia. Don't tell me you weren't enticed by that Detroit-style pizza. I saw that man dominating.
100%.
Right?
We'll never turn down a slice of pizza. Ever.
Your figure says otherwise. With Ricky Lopez Espin, Mike Watts, USL Championship on CBS Sports. This really feels like the kickoff to the national TV slate for USL this year. Big game in July. Mid-July, Pittsburgh will play host on Network CBS. We're so excited for that game. Show off all that they're accomplishing there, the Hounds. They're winning the title last year against Tulsa. Ball cross field, knotted down. Wilson. Ball caroms back in front of frame, and Herrera able to snag it before Serrano could make contact.
From last year to this year, the decision-making and the spatial awareness from Jansen Wilson is where I think that he's grown the most. Understanding fake that you're going to go with your right foot, come across, create a little bit of separation, and actually hit it really well with your left foot. Momenta doing a good job of just fending off Ray Serrano in the end. But clever from Jansen Wilson trying to threat the Detroit City goal.
And in the end, it's the end for Jacil Cedeno. He did come back in for a moment, just not able to continue. So Detroit will go to their bench for the first time. The one and only Connor Rutz set to come in a moment. Ricky, we were talking to Danny Dicchio this week. I said, you know, I've talked with various coaches, both in Detroit and elsewhere, about Connor Rutz. And I couldn't find the best way to say it, so the way I did say it was, he's kind of like a cockroach in a nuclear explosion. He won't go away. He is everywhere on the field. Every time he plays, he is always popping up in the right positions. No matter what an opponent does to try and take him out of a game is truly irrelevant, and yet it feels like he never gets that kind of praise. His motor is nonstop. I think I'm the captain of the Connor Rutz fan club. And he did admit, like, yeah, he does sort of have that, not only the motor, but the ability to play in so many different positions and versatility and what he's meant to the club over the course of 7 seasons. Well, you hate to see Cedeno go out just minutes after he took a knock inside the opposite penalty area, and he's able to walk off under his own power. We do get to see Rutz.
Just never goes away, Connor Rutz.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
and it is so impressive to maintain that consistency for numerous of years. And you know exactly what you're going to get every single time he walks on the field. Danny Dicchio said, look, work rate never in question. Very coachable. If you ask him to play goalkeeper, he'll play goalkeeper at the highest of his ability as well.
Well, and he said, look, as a coach, I never have to tell him the same thing twice.
Exactly.
How many coaches do you hear who just, they love that statement? Because so often it's, we're going to do this 10 times before it sticks.
Good personality, a team before me type of player. And he said, look, in training, hopefully we can see it once game comes. He's one of, if not the best finisher on our team.
Yep.
Right, so goal scoring opportunities need to become a little bit more prevalent for Connor Rutz through game time.
I'll talk about a guy who traveled the road less traveled. Schoolcraft College to Saginaw Valley, where he was a Division II All-American. Doesn't matter where you come from. Once you get to Detroit, you score the goals he has and have the longevity that he's produced. He'll walk to the end of the earth for you here. There goes Gleedle. Pops it ahead. Serrano, no. Gleedle trying to pull it back. Serrano again. Whistles forward to Herrera out in front of Donovan.
As this ball pops out, love the aggressiveness from Gleedle. There was arguments for a handball from Louisville City. Don't really see one. Maybe Yamazaki tries to lean into it. Left side of your screen.
Ooh.
That arm is a little bit extended away from the body, making himself bigger. Again, no VAR here in USL Championship.
It certainly does impact the ball going through to Donovan, but I'm also not really sure what Yamazaki is supposed to do to make himself smaller than he was. Duncan takes the hit. Beware, because Jope is on a card. I think Jope is perhaps going to escape with a final warning.
Just watch the left arm here from Jope. Just comes through the back of Duncan here, extended away. That elbow's really high. I'll tell you what, much like Donovan's lucky not to see red, I think Jope is really lucky not to see a double yellow here. That's exactly the conversation that Kyle Adams is having with Matt Thompson here.
And am I wrong? The initial yellow card on Jope was the hit on Adams, right? Which I think in a normal circumstance is definitely a foul. I don't know you're giving it a yellow, but it boiled to the point that you give the yellow then, and all of a sudden as a player, you're aware that you're walking that fine line. Duncan continues to be attended to here.
You need to be a lot smarter if you are Jope. You should not lead into this challenge with your arm that high, coming through the back of Zach Duncan. Going to be walking a really thin line for the remainder of this game. And if you are Danny Dicchio, does that force your hand as well in terms of the man management? Who do you bring in?
Because you already made the change for Rutz, you'd have to use a second sub window, but I don't know that that's necessarily a concern relative to losing a player. So, see how much more Jope can give. All the while, Duncan's the one on the ground. The fact he's even playing, much less starting 5 straight games, given what occurred to him last year, this is a guy who's gone through an ACL tear and 3 separate broken ankles. Time for the New South Wales native at Brisbane Road, and then he goes to Denmark for 4 years, lands in Memphis, has a great run with Ben Pierman there in 2024, and then last year breaks his leg 4 games into the season, out the rest of the way. Duncan gesturing to Dicchio saying it was the elbow that got me. Louisville's preparing changes. Perez and Jones to come on in a moment. Duncan waved back in. He scored in a preseason friendly, and Danny Cruz told me at the time, there's not a lot of goals that'll bring you to tears, and watching him come back from the injury he suffered, one where they had to totally immobilize his leg after surgery. Long, long road back. Said, I was welling up on the sideline. Good to see Duncan able to return here. Ball sent ahead to Serrano by Dia. Serrano looking for Donovan, who's muscled off by Montgomery. Six, 7 minutes past the hour mark. One still. Smith. Yamazaki. Ball laced right at Fondes.
Especially when Louisville City's going to sit a little bit deeper in this part of the field, your width becomes that much more important for Detroit City. Specifically, Juve is going to give you that, the ability to isolate himself to go 1v1. And you have to think it's going to be Connor Rutz, Yamazaki on that far side. Problem is for Danny Dicchio and company right now, once they do get higher up the field, it's just too narrow, too congested, not allowing passing lanes to open up, and that plays right into Louisville City being compact defensively.
Runs all the way out, change incoming for Louisville. We'll tell you about it in 30 seconds. As David Bowie would say, changes. Louisville makes a pair of them. Josh Jones' first league appearance since the first week of the season. Played about 45 minutes against Houston. The extra time match in Open Cup, Mogel comes out. Unfortunately for him, the own goal, probably the moment for him in this game. Then Manny Perez comes on for Sam Gleadle. Silva signed on a 2-year deal in January, the former RSL homegrown. Brought in by Days. Jansen Wilson, pirouette Setcherly. Couldn't pull it through. Ben Morris is waiting to come in a moment. What an occasion that's going to be. All the while into the penalty area. Juve continues. Knock that off of Days. It's going to be a corner. Louisville certainly felt differently.
Good ball in from Jope into Juve here as he almost puts Days on skates. To actually miss it. Comes off of his wrong foot. Days does not touch this ball. That is why every single player in the Lou City jersey having a conversation with Matt Thompson.
Yeah. It was just such a wonky hit.
Yeah.
And Adams doing a solid by his gloved compatriot. Loop-de-loop and pull. And Fondez's shoes are looking cool. Corner for Detroit. They've held the subs for the time being. Towering header goes in! Oh, Connor Rutz! He scrapes the ceiling and hammers the header down for the Detroit go-ahead.
Set pieces, when you're not creating through the run and play, so important, but this is all about want from Connor Rutz. Doing a good job at freeing himself, and the technique on this header is perfect. And notice how he meets it and snaps it down over his right shoulder into this bottom corner. There is simply no chance for Fondez and this Lou City back line. And as a sub coming onto this field, you need to make a positive impact. And Connor Rutz did that and more. 2-1 Detroit City.
Cue the bubbles, cue the smoke. Connor Rutz, I'm telling you. First goal of the season. He simply won't go away. And the changes are coming. And this is the big one. Ben Morris, torn ACL in June last year. Egbuchulam will give way. And the Detroit number 9 makes his first appearance since that devastating injury. One of the fastest players in behind in the league. Been clocked up around 21 miles an hour in a Detroit uniform. And then Maxi Rodriguez comes in after a 4-game hiatus due to a hamstring injury, one of the all-time Detroit greats. For Detroit to be great this year, great. Morris and Rodriguez played giant roles.
Can argue throughout USL Championship, really difficult to find players with those types of profiles. You talked about Ben Morris, his ability to run in behind. A nightmare with his timing of runs, his space, and his pace to stretch the game. And then you have Maxi Rodriguez, a midfielder that can combine, can go 1v1, can drop back and cover a lot of ground defensively.
Wilson pulling back. Wilson out for Dia. And this a foul on Dia, trying to regain position. And Yamazaki is going to take a very long dip in the ice bath tonight.
Louisville City struggling to find any sort of solutions through this Detroit City back line. Yamazaki just feeling where Dia is, getting himself between the ball and his opposition. Goes down, really well done. He's had a strong showing, the right back for Detroit City. But just the spacing for Louisville City just hasn't been there in terms of playing off of Donovan. You want him to stay high, you want him to occupy Amumensa and Montgomery, and then you allow Ray Serrano and Jansen Wilson to operate in the spaces underneath. But it just seems like it's been isolated. It's been players operating the same pocket of space and the shape all over the place for Louisville City.
Parachutes forward. Days. Joof. It takes 3 to try and slow him. Silva sweeping. Fondez, enough. Rutz reclaims. Detroit trying to get a little insurance. Louisville's last league game saw Jansen Wilson score the winner against winless Jacksonville at 90+6 in front of a sellout crowd in Kentucky. Well over 10,000 on that day. Advantage played. This is something the Detroit team earlier in the game took issue with, that they didn't play advantage. Here's Detroit into the area. Swept back across towards Smith, settled by Silva. Back into the corner, Kobe Hernandez-Foster, and it's with Louisville. Are you okay with the amount of time that was allowed to sort of pause with the advantage?
I am there, yeah. The one in the first half, I think, was a little bit more clear that Matt Thompson misses, but this one giving the benefit of the doubt here to Detroit City, playing advantage there. Good ball.
Perez, who was menacing on Wednesday night in the Open Cup round of 16. Lost it on that occasion. Joof. Morris. Yamazaki away by Adams. Let's take a look at the Best Western upcoming schedule. USL on CBS Sports Network continues with a League One fixture in a week and a half. Boise and Naples. Richmond and Charleston continue our coverage of the Prince Tires USL Cup. That'll be match day 2 for those teams. And then Louisville and Tampa Bay close out the month, May 30th, right here on CBS Sports Network. On USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete TV listings. Louisville preparing a couple of changes, including Tola Shawunmi, who racked up goals early in the Open Cup. Would love to see that form carry over to the league. 13 minutes separate Detroit from back-to-back wins against Louisville, first in the playoffs in November, and now to inch closer in the standings. One game fewer played, they'd be 3 points back. Days and Joof coming together.
Joof inviting the contact, just stands his ground, and as Days comes through, Joof does not take kindly to a little bit of the drag over the body there.
Lindsey Hewerman on for Amadou Dia. And then there's Tola Shawunmi entering the game as well. Hewerman coming off injury. Shawunmi coming off a busy week worth of fixtures. Replaces Serrano.
I expect Louisville City to play more direct in Shawunmi now. So if you can play into the big target number 9, the movement underneath him, off of him, is going to be top priority for Simon Bird and the visiting side. Get him involved, you'll find success, because he just requires so much attention.
Subs 3 and 4 for Louisville City. Bounces back into space. Cleared all the way down to Herrera. Scoops it up in front of Donovan. Haven't seen a ton of Donovan and Shawunmi on the field together, but chasing a goal late. asked Danny Cruz before he stepped away to take the Minnesota assistant job about the quarterfinal. He said we did things we didn't do all season and it cost us. And speaking with Simon Bird this week, he said maybe we didn't face nearly enough adversity in the regular year. That's naturally a good problem to have, but this is the adversity they hope hardens them as the year goes along.
That's an opportunity now for Louisville City to show a little bit of personality and grit and what Simon Bird has within his locker room. Obviously not.
Ball forward, Hernandez Foster punched away by Fondes, aggressive off his line, Ruts back to Morris. Morris tried to downshift, Davila read it. Shawunmi holding off Yamazaki. Back toward Days. Able to retain, now through Davila. Walks it forward, shifts over to Wilson, pops this across. Shawunmi coming for it, but Herrera leaping into the fray. Change coming, Kobe Hernandez Foster out, Ryan Williams comes in. Hernandez Foster dropping a little bit deeper in that second half against Pittsburgh, and they felt that really helped them along in that match.
Yeah, a lot of the work in this game specifically for Hernandez Foster was off the ball. Closing down space, cutting down angles, just trying to muck up the game. Him and Job did a good job at not allowing players like Davila, like Zach Duncan to get any sort of rhythm. And it is a luxury for Danny Dico, because you and I had the ability to speak with him, and he said, look, the game changed when he dropped deeper, because he can pick apart the opposition. He can help move the ball higher up the field. But another showing of the game, just the ability to cover ground and do more of the defensive side for Kobe Hernandez Foster.
Hernandez Foster was signed by Galaxy at 14 years old, ended up at Wolfsburg, and then a year stint in Norway, Birmingham for about a year and a half. Came to Detroit midway through last year. So a good amount of time once he initially arrived. Consistent starter down the stretch. It's of course carried over this year, started all 7 games. 83rd minute. Detroit could move within 3 points of top in the East, with the game in hand on this very Louisvillian side. Montez Juf has Silva outside of him. Detroit will go to Hartford and host Miami, visit Loudoun, and go to Charleston here in the month of May within the league. A squad with probably more consistency year over year than any championship season for Detroit. This is their 5th year. Made the playoffs in 4 of them. Hammered long, shielded to the line. Proper headgear. Proper sound. A throw in to Louisville. hammering away into the game's final minutes. Out of real estate, goal kick. "14 years in totality for Detroit City. The dominant force in NISA before coming to USL. A team fashioned in the identity of the city in which it exists. Adams. Down to Jansen Wilson. Yamazaki came up and disrupted. Duncan commits the foul in the end.
Just a sense of accountability and responsibility for every single one of these Detroit City players. Connor Rutz understands Yamazaki gets pulled in. I need to drop down about 30 yards and just simply pick the pocket of Zach Duncan. And that is the last interaction for Zach Duncan, as Evan Davila will make way onto the field now for Louisville City.
Davila getting a run of starts here of late. They rave about his work rate. Of course, his brother Taylor playing throughout the game. Both Cal grads. Taylor going on to be named USL Championships Player of the Year last year. Evan really starting to see his star turn now. 5th and final sub for Louisville in theory. Silva pops the cross. Runs through to Rutz on the opposite side. As the sun begins to set on a quintessential May Detroit day.
Those are moments that you need more from Tola, to hold the ball, to have a clean first touch, and try to allow your teammates to come underneath and support. I expect the last 3+ here from Louisville City to be as direct as possible, whipping balls into dangerous areas and just causing a little bit of confusion and chaos right in front of Herrera and this Detroit City goal.
Long throw into the box. Adams went up for it, comes out to Taylor Davila, and there was a foul from Adams. Now Adams and Amu Mensah having a discussion. Shawunmi pulling them apart. Yamazaki joins the Peace Corps.
Long throw in from Jones. A little bit of the arm comes through from Adams. The catch seems to be Montgomery.
Believe so. I haven't seen the number there yet. Namu Mensah was on the ground already, so it's likely some of the basis of that conversation as well. Kyle Adams has really engaged the fan base here in Detroit. Proof that I've been doing this wrong my entire career.
Those are awesome.
The Detroit City beanies, you mean, of course, right?
Great colors.
Oh, yeah. That's it. Well, we're down to 80 seconds in theory. I promise you, we are far from done here. The attention remains on the injury here in the penalty area. Detroit is preparing to make an additional sub here. They use the 3 windows, only 4 subs, but they're going to make an adjustment now and utilize the concussion substitution protocol. And Montgomery is going to have to come off. It's Rio Hope Gund who's going to come on, as opposed to Aiden Stanley, who's played more center back over the course of his career. Hope Gund spent last year at Rhode Island, former Defender of the Year in the Big East at Georgetown. It does open the door to Louisville making an additional change, and they've got Duke and Akale on the bench if they choose to adjust as well. Well, blood, sweat, tears, all of it in this game. And we commence stoppage time, 9 added minutes. And there are some leagues, Ricky, where you go, well, how many VAR reviews is that? That's the wild part. None. You hold Montgomery is okay. Take the long walk back to the bench, and Hope Gund will come on for the injured towering center back. Spent the last 3 years up in the Canadian Premier League. Guy who was never called, not by Vancouver, not by the provincial team in British Columbia. Ended up being part of Olympic qualifying out of the 2021 Olympics, having had a great collegiate career at UNC Charlotte, time in Dallas and Minnesota. Louisville is going to make that extra sub, by the way. Akale just came to the 4th official. So Louisville is going to make a 6th sub and replace Jansen Wilson. So Hope Gund in for Montgomery, 5th sub but 4th window due to the concussion protocol. And Akale on for Wilson, utilizing the 6th sub. Akale has got a couple goals in his history and have landed on the SportsCenter top 10. He's just sort of got a nose for it. Who knows? We're probably going to get to 10 and a half, 11 minutes because we haven't kicked the ball here in 3 minutes. In that span, the 9 minutes went up. So, long way to go.
And something to note as well for Akale, left footer playing on the right-hand side, and by tendency is always going to try to come into the interior to combine, really comfortable with the ball at his feet. So the movement off of Sharon Mien or Donovan can be really influential for Akale.
And if you're tuning in for the 2026 Poker Go Cup, it's going to be a minute, and we apologize, but we will get you there once we're done here in Hamtramck. This is a rematch of the quarterfinal between the two sides. Louisville, 73 points last year, 37 points for Detroit, and on the day it didn't matter. The 8 seed slayed the 1 seed. Detroit doing it for the 2nd time in 3 years against the league's regular season champion, the Shield winners. And now in the rematch, nearly exactly 6 months later, could be that same 1-goal margin that separates the sides and put Louisville on a losing streak for the first time in nearly 3 years. Over from Davila. Brought down by Shawunmi. Amu Mensah sweeps it forward. Adams got duped. The numbers are good for Detroit. This isn't merely taking it to the corner behind Smith. Brought in by Silva.
Just notice, Mike, every single time Chris Donovan gets on the ball or Tola Shawunmi, there's just no support. And when it does come, it's 2-3 seconds too late. And that is why we're starting to see Detroit City, specifically Ryan Williams, Maxi Rodriguez, to close this game out, do a good job at just dropping in and winning that space and winning those second balls. Watch out here.
It is Morris! Morris! Met by Hewerman in his return from the ACL tear last summer. Nearly put it away.
Just waiting a little bit too long, but the movement off of Juve here, phenomenal. Once you take that second touch, you need to have a shot right there. Trying to set his feet allows Hewerman to come across and just cut down the angle.
17 goals over a 2-year span, 2023 and 2024, and then his season cut short after 2 goals in 12 games in 2025. Rodriguez lost it to the end line. Adams is running to kick that ball out of play. There's one too many on the field. Adams had to run right into the northern guard and push that out. In theory, we're probably right around the midway point in stoppage time. Down from Jones. Davila pressured by Smith, who still hasn't run out of gas. That got blocked. Jones has the long throw. Fondes. Davila. Header down. Toward Shawunmi, who is waiting, and swept out of play.
Just the amount of size that Louisville City has now with Shawunmi, with Josh Jones, Chris Donovan.
Notably no Sean Tosh, who's great on set pieces. He's out today due to injury. Corner for Louisville, snared by Herrera.
It's far too close to the goalkeeper here for Taylor Davila. This ball needs to be pulled out between that 6-yard box and penalty mark. Another good display of solid goalkeeping.
What a touch. Are you kidding me? Wow, on a dime. And precious time ticks away. Only a minimum of 100 seconds left. Ates Juve. That was masterful.
We can talk about his dribbling ability and his ability to be direct and intentional. But what I love is his ability to use his body and just feel pressure. Makes this look a lot easier than what it is. This is so impressive. Outside of the right boot. Many press on your back. And take the foul. Well done for Juve.
Louisville try and get forward with some speed. Williams stems it off for the time being. Adams, Davila wanders forward. A minimum of a minute remaining, maybe a couple, all considered. Thompson got in the way of that. It's going to be a drop to Louisville because Louisville was last to touch it.
Actually does well in Louisville's favor. It wasn't the best of balls here.
No, I think Detroit comes away with that.
Well, from Taylor Davila.
And that's why he didn't get cast in the Matrix. Here's Days. Poor ball. Half a minute at least. Akale. Again, Detroit, a force field, not allowing anything through. Adams forward, backline packs it in again. Yamazaki this time. Smith upfield as far as Adams. Served into the box again. It's a Louisville foul in advance of the service from Jones. We've played the 9 minutes. How much time remains?
The box defending has been terrific for Detroit City, and you just see the passion and what it means to the home side to win their individual duels, to not give anything easy to Louisville City. And that's that belief that Danny Dicchio mentioned to us going to Lynn Family Stadium in 2025, slay the Giant, and now you have the confidence that you can take on anyone in USL Championship.
Free kick, Louisville. He said, now we can go to Tampa Bay or Charleston or Louisville and expect to win. They always expect to win here. But against this rival, it's been a 50-50 proposition historically. This became a real rock fight. Morris got the first touch on that and got lobbed into the Detroit bench. 10 minutes gone. Crowd is looking at their watches. We went about 3 minutes without a ball being kicked due to the injury suffered by Montgomery around the commencement of stoppage time. Into the box, turning, showing me! Not to be. Comes out to the spot, saved away from the line. The follow-up is wide. Wow, what a moment from Detroit. They simply will not be beaten on this day.
The use of the body from Sharon is just so impressive to spin his marker and try to come back across. Gets denied by the woodwork, but this is all about the grit from numerous of Detroit City players. Hope Gunn doing a good job on Mumenta dropping deep, and again, the passion coming out, but what a phenomenal effort that is from Sharon Meat. Nearly the equalizer in the 100th minute.
If that's not the perfect encapsulation of what makes Detroit great. 11 minutes. Is there any time remaining? It's over! Detroit a 2-1 win to pull within 3 points of the top of the East. A remarkable performance at Keyworth for Detroit City. And a win over the twice reigning Shield winners. That quarterfinal's not a fluke. Back-to-back wins over Louisville, and after being swept in the regular season a year ago, they've gotten their goat again in Hamtramck.
Grit, determination, personality, and the willingness to do it together on display for Detroit City. All 11 attacked, all 11 defended, and you just see what it means. Every single one of these players, the belief on their face. Well-deserved 3 points that they keep here at Keyworth Stadium.
110 minutes on the cusp of a fist fight. Detroit City celebrates. A remarkable goal right before halftime at Louisville on level terms, but it's Ruts. 2-1 Detroit. We wrap it up next. USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Connor Rutz, the game winner for Detroit City. Hams it up with the fans here in Hamtramck for good reason. A 2-1 final within 3 points of Louisville atop the East. Mike, Ricky, let's take you through the full-time highlights here. Cedeno plays a peach of a ball to open the scoring.
Really well done from Cedeno, and then the intent from Juve to move the first touch into a positive area. And as Yamazaki from his right back position follows up the play, he gets rewarded. You get yourself in around that 18-yard box, you pull it wide, a moment from O'Gale, but this is wonderful from Jansen Wilson. After, yes, a soft foul, but he makes no mistake about this finish. Low and hard, bends it into this goalkeeper's near post and silences a lot of people here at Keyworth Stadium.
1-1 going into halftime. The ones not silent were booing, but the cheering for Rutz is a familiar sound.
Such a really well-taken header from Connor Rutz to find himself a little bit free, but he just wants and attacks it more than every single player on the field, and the technique is phenomenal. But yet, you go up 2-1, and you knew there was going to be a fight for Louisville City. Shirwani just shielding off his marker and using his body extremely well. Gets denied by the woodwork, but just notice the amount of red jerseys that drop deep behind the ball and help out Herrera. That is passion, that is grit, and that is a togetherness for Detroit City.
That is Detroit willing their way over the line. The woodwork, the busiest we've seen perhaps all season in the championship, both ways. But Detroit, 2-1 winners on the afternoon. So for Detroit City, after the quarterfinal upset that has perhaps defined all upsets in the championship, this feels par for the course. The win at home over Louisville, 2-1. For Ricky Lopez-Espin, our entire crew at Hamtramck, and beyond, Mike Watts saying this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports. The river belongs to Detroit. Have a good night, everybody.